Another big project is acquiring the land that is between here and Yotatiro. There's a lot, right, that if I could buy it, I could get much easier access to here. And I would be able to provide access to the public. Currently, I have permission to use it, but it's just permission. Now, I realize you won't be funding these bigger projects. I mean, I would love to get bigger donors that, bigger grants and things like that. It could be that it'll work out that I could do so well on crowdfunding, generally speaking, that I could get things like this done that aren't that sexy. But this connection to town is absolutely critical. And I need to bulldoze down part of the hill, just on the road, in order so that you can get up it in the rain. Like, I haven't been to town in over 2 weeks, even though I've been wanting to go because I got some things I need to do. But I know I won't be able to get the van back because there's too steep a spot that's muddy. And I'll just spin my tires and then be sitting there on the road like, oh, well, I guess I will sit here in my vehicle blocking the road until sometime it's drier. That's bad. I need a four-wheel drive. That's another big cost item, by the way, another big cost project. But let's talk about that piece of land, okay? First, I could offer the owners some money that we could raise and say, listen, I want to sign a contract, and I'll pay you to sign this contract that says that I and my guests can use this road. If I ever have a bigger event, I'll have them enter that way, and I'll have them leave the other way, and I'll fix that road down there. I'll do something. I'll work it out. But I'm not going to be having any big events for a while. And tell them I want to bulldoze down that hill, which would fill in a spot that gets muddy anyway, so the entire road would improve. So in other words, I would be paying them and then paying to have their road improved. That improves the value of their land. It makes that road better. And I want that road to be better because I don't have very good access to get here. And so even if I don't totally control it, that's okay. Now I do need to investigate where her property line is. It's actually her parents' property, but will eventually presumably become hers. And she speaks English. The other guy's really cool too. I've met the dad. I've never met the mom. They're divorced, and so that does make some issues with the deed. And so the deed really needs to go into her name, the daughter's name, and then I would be more willing to purchase it. Or read about and get a lawyer on how to purchase land when two people are on the deed and they're divorced. That can be a legal risk. So anyway, I actually would clean up the road I would clean up some other parts of the road too, widen a little bit, and it would be wonderful. And make that road so wide that it has pullouts. Have a bulldozer make some pullouts on that road so that even though it's a one-way road, if you run into somebody head on, you have some option to go back or forward and get somebody off the fucking road. That should be obvious. So I'm not advocating for a 2-lane road. I'm advocating for about a 1.5 lane road with pullouts. I say 1.5 lanes because you want to be able to adjust where you're driving so you don't get a hump in the middle. So you dig it almost as wide as a 2-lane road. And then that really helps, and you don't have to do as far of pullouts either. And so it's just some thoughts. That's a bigger project. Any agricultural project here is huge and is expensive. I have 2 buildings I need to fix up. That is a moderate ticket item, and I should do its own video on that. Fixing up those 2 cabanas would increase the amount of livable space immediately. It is cabanas that are far away, and so they should have solar lighting, their own solar lighting system. If I had a different one that I was putting in, then I could run a cable to it. Possible. but I need lighting out there now at night. First of all, I have to finish the buildings. I need to put mud in some walls. You know, there's wire there. We were painting the cob with resin, and that looks really great. It doesn't look that great. It seems to work great at keeping dust down. The window's broken. It's mud all over the floor. It's some weeks of work for a couple guys or a small team, less time. It's a fun group project, actually, mixing up the mud, filling in the walls. And then the outdoor area there needs immediate help, and that help should come in the form of fixing up the existing stove that is there. We have an outdoor wood-fired stove. We need to fix that up and put in a roof that's not going to fall down. So it may have concrete posts around it. And the roof might be bigger than just that one thing. But one of the things we don't want to do is build small things in places that later we're going to want to build something big. Because I want to put a whole concrete roof across there between Bliss and Cosmic and Truth. Cosmic and Truth, you know, Cosmic Truth, that's a joke. But we also want to dig the trails around there better. We want to look at rain capture there. We dug out some small spots for cisterns, but we should do better than that. But rain capture out there would be fantastic to get water into that area. So as far as rain capture goes, because it's so far from everything, having a water system would be really helpful. For now, we could even do something like, since we want to buy like one of those carport things, you know, Costco carport type things, it's a remote area, and so we could store inside one of the buildings a collapsed Costco thing, pull it out, put it up when people are there. Why not just leave it up? Because the sun is going to destroy it at this elevation. We're at 2,200 meters, almost 8,000 feet. The sun is vicious. We cannot leave plastic structures out. It's a bad idea, trust me. Big ticket items, so that's a medium, actually it's a big ticket item, because if I really want to fix that area up, it's going to take some work. Big ticket item is to buy some neighboring land. That one I mentioned is just one that I have my eye on. And that's either for privacy here, for making the space have a better shape, or it's, in one case, it's for parking outside the Bosque. In case I ever have enough people that, you know, coming here, and I don't want to have a bunch of cars on site, I could have people park outside and walk in. Because unless people are car camping, I don't really want them bringing their car that far in here. It's fine for now. I don't have any visitors. But I can imagine a future, and I'm training people when they come here for a future of them coming here. And so how we deal with cars here is a really important cultural consideration. Now, I mentioned honking, that the honking is bad, except for emergencies. Where you park is super important. You can only park in designated spots exactly in that spot. We have to do that, because if people start deciding to park in places, sometimes they run over a garden. And you know, I already don't like it if we're going to harvest a tree and we bring a pickup in or something like that. It takes years for those tracks to heal, and it's okay. I know why we're doing what we're doing, and I know how the forest will recover just fine. But the more vehicles we have here, especially people who are not used to the space, there's more danger that their car, just like their feet if they walk around off trail, will compact the soil, you know, or they'll get stuck. People get stuck. Actually, mainly that's me, because I don't have four-wheel drive and I drive around when it's wet sometimes. It's really annoying when I get stuck. I back over something. I did that once. Other big projects. This is a big one. You're going to like it. I have a whole other video on agricultural projects, but I'm going to mention this one because of the size of it. My goal here is to propagate plants. We collect seeds, we do cuttings, we do all this stuff ourselves. And so we have a hopefully exponential curve when we're I don't know which way I'm going here. We have an exponential curve. It won't be exponential, but we can work on that. It sounds inspirational, right? Sounds cool. But increase of propagation of plants in all the ways that they can be propagated, and for each species we care about, propagating it in the best way, the least energy way. It's a very important statement I just made, because a lot of people's projects, they have shade cloth and plastic things, and they have this thing they have to do, and they're, you know, they have to buy shit. And it's like, no, we can propagate plants here by learning the way the plant wants to propagate with the minimal effort on our part. And once we get a species that's important, that's valuable, then we can plant it in various places. We do this with citrus, for example. And it's risky because sometimes the product will not be as good as the parent. But we're also, for example, doing air layering of a really good lemon. Getting normal lemons, what is for me a normal lemon, they call limon real, I think here. And limon is an otro cosa, that's a lime. Anyway, don't worry about it. The point is that this tree we don't have a lot of, and we may or may not be able to breed true from seed. And we know it's a nice one. And so we can air layer onto that and then make new trees. And we can get really good at that. And it's a slow process. And each baby tree can take years to develop. And we're, you know, but this is the big ticket item. I mean, funding all that is one thing. That's an ongoing task that should just be in the budget, to have guys from Yotatiro that work on that project, that maintain it. Or have somebody living on site that's working on part of it. We can break it into different kinds of parts and tasks. We did that last summer. It worked fine. Who does what, when, and why? And all that is made with thinking about water use, energy use, time, working with the plant, each individual type of plant, without a lot of infrastructure. Those are the solutions we need worldwide. We don't need a big greenhouse to produce 10,000 plants. We need everybody, or a lot of people in Aranga, to know how to reproduce a fig tree, which is so easy it's ridiculous. But let's go on to the really big ticket item. This is scary. It's going to cost a lot. And this is going to Morelia, investigating beforehand online, seeing if any nurseries and viveros have lists of all the species of their plants. The idea is to buy a bunch of plants and have ready our system very, very much ready to reproduce those plants. Choose carefully what you buy and buy a lot. I want to buy truckloads. I don't even want to do it in the van. I can't do it in the van. I want to arrange for my shopping list to be ready and know that I can get those things, make my requests, preferably with one nursery. But different nurseries have different things, and so up that to 2 or 3 that we're willing to do, but try to keep it simple, right? Go in with a phone that you can record things on, prices of things, somebody taking notes, so we have a physical copy. I don't know, as long as we get the data. See the plants, see the costs, already know what you think you want to buy, ask them what's not on the list, ask them about getting any plants that you want that are in the world, and say, hey, I would pay for this plant if I ever come back here. And then the truck comes, and we approve the plants as they're loaded into the truck. We watch it. And we spend $10,000 or something, and we have ready our system to reproduce those plants, to make our own vivero. But then we're buying from the source. Because if I buy plants from viveros around here, it's great. I love it. I love these little viveros. However, they buy their plants from the big viveros in Xochimilco. That's what it's called. It's on the south part of Mexico City. That's where the biggest viveros are. We could also investigate viveros in Guadalajara. That's fine. The climate is similar in those places. It's probably Xochimilco, and I need to investigate that more. I need to go there with somebody else on my team, probably 2 people, 3 altogether. I'll be looking around thinking and trying to think of everything I can. I need somebody to handle the money, although the money should get handled in other ways, and I don't want to be walking around with $10,000. It could be that, well, we should think about different ways to do this. You know, they may have their own trucks. I bet they do. And so they can tell us how much it will cost to have them drive it here. You know, can they make it on the road? Yeah, I'm imagining a really not very big truck, but stacking the plants up in a really smart way so we can pack as much in as possible. So I want something that's kind of like a bread truck or something, a box truck, and I want to pack that thing full. And I want to do it. I want to research it now and for a long time. I want to do the purchase in the end of June. I have some flexibility on that, but by July we are hitting the ground. So June is a really good month. There's a little bit of rains. We can be ready for them because we're rehoming these plants, you know, and we're getting that species in here. Hopefully useful plants, ones that people can eat or animals can eat or look pretty, and they require no water. We want to investigate that very carefully. There's almost nothing we should buy that needs water. We might, but shouldn't be much. We can break the rules a little bit, but we better know why and be able to justify it, because there's a reason we have these rules, and they're very important. So this plant buying trip, we research now, we go there, we've already talked with the people extensively. We know that there's transport available, that we go there and we stay the night, okay? And, you know, we walk around, we stay the night in a hotel as close to there as possible. Maybe we have time to walk over and just walk around, but really the next day, early in the morning, is when we're scheduled to meet with the owner, and I want to meet with the owner, and I want a video of this. I want to Zoom with these, I want to investigate these owners of these places, or the manager. If the owner is old and boring, or, yeah, if they're dynamic and cool, then they should be on camera. But if they're old and boring, or they're shy, that's fine. Maybe they have a manager or an employee who really knows everything about the plants that they have. The most knowledgeable. Could be 2 people, fine. We get a cameraman on it, and be in Spanish unless they speak English. It could be that we visit a vivero and they have an English speaker. It would be great to be able to make an English video, and it'd be great to make a bunch of Spanish ones. And I love looking at plants in nurseries. It excites me. You know, this is life that I can bring into the forest and reproduce, and it can fit into this complex system. I don't know what would be on the list at the moment, but I want to look at some pretty long lists. One nice thing is these plants are already in the country. I can't just bring in plants from other countries because there's restrictions on that. But anything that's in a nursery here, it's already here. And so I can, you know, get a variety of different succulents. I have a place that I'm preparing for fruit trees. I'm going to go apeshit on fruit trees for the very first time. And unfortunately, I know that the squirrels are going to eat all of it, and I need to make owl boxes to kill the squirrels. That's not a big ticket item. But this plant trip is. And the thing is, we are so good at plant propagation now, not perfect, and I can easily build a team that can propagate the heck out of everything, that if I buy a Bing, if I could find a Bing cherry, for example, a Bing cherry tree, and maybe it's grafted or maybe it isn't, and I put it here, and I baby it and I grow it. And if I need a male and a female, I need to think about that with each type of tree. And I want to focus on perennials, obviously, and trees. There could be understory things and bushes You know, there's something called something berry that's fairly new. I forgot. Anyway, it's a little fruit.